Hi, boys and girls. Okay, so we are learning about the habitat called a pond. Can you say pond? Pond. The pond habitat has shallow water. That's one of our vocabulary. Shallow means not very deep. Shallow water, and has land around all sides. There are plants and animals that live in and around the pond. Some animals live in the pond and some animals live around the edge of the pond on the land. Now I want you to listen to what other plants and animals live in the pond habitat so we can add them to a list. I want you to look and listen carefully to see if you can remember some of the new pond animals and pond plants shown in the pictures, because I'm going to ask you to name them for me when we're finished reading. Okay, here we go. Now look all around. Do you see the calm, still water? Remember we talked about that vocabulary word still. Still means not moving. Do you see the swimming ducks? Can you see the long green grass growing around the edge of the water? You can see the pond habitat, but you can't see me. I'm tucked inside my shell, but I would love to pop out and meet you. That's not me. That's the person who's talking to you. You know who that is? Well, let's see. Hi there, I'm Tobias Turtle. Turtle and I live near the pond. Welcome to my habitat. Today I'm going to explore the many plants and animals that live in and around the pond with me. Splash! What was that? It must have been a fish jumping out of the water trying to catch a mosquito to eat. Buzz! I think I hear a dragonfly flying by me. I'm going to tuck my legs inside my shell and wait quietly to see what else I can see. I have been so still that many of my animal friends have come out of their hiding places. I can see an animal with a mask of dark fur around its eyes and stripes on its tail. It is a raccoon that has come to the pond to search for food. In the middle of the pond, a mother and father duck are teaching their ducklings to swim. Now I'm going to stretch my legs back out of my shell and crawl slowly closer to the water's edge. I can see the furry beaver swimming through the pond, cutting and gathering logs to build itself a home. It uses its strong front teeth to chew on a tree trunk until it falls to the ground. Then the beaver builds its home out of the logs it has dragged into the water. That's some pretty strong teeth. Look at that. That's amazing. Yeah. And that's in a pond. A beaver. Beaver. Ooh, what is this? Here is the masked raccoon crouching. Oh, that's one of our words. Crouching in the grass by the pond's edge. The raccoon takes a long drink of water, then stays very still and waits for a fish to swim by. Maybe it waits patiently. It will catch a fish with its sharp claws. On the other side of the pond in the reeds, oh, that's another vocabulary word, reeds. A great blue heron has been very patient. It has stood so still for so long that it caught a fish in its long beaks. Its long beak. So the reeds, remember, they're tall, tall grass that grow in and around the water. If I look closely at furry brown cattails swaying gently in the breeze, I see insects flying from plant to plant. They are looking for tasty nectar on which to feed. Ribbit, ribbit. I hear a croaking nearby. What would that be? That's one of our words, croaking. It sits on its flat green lily pad, hoping a tasty fly will buzz by. That would be a frog. Yeah, a frog is croaking. Did you see it? I love to look closely at the various insects that make their homes in the pond habitat. Dragonflies are expert flyers that have 4 wings so that they can fly straight up and straight down, just like a helicopter. The water strider also has a special talent. It can walk on top of the pond's surface. I also see a monarch butterfly drinking the delicious nectar of a goldenrod flower. Wow, that's amazing. I wonder where that frog went. It sure loves to look for insects too. Oh, look. There's the frog. It was hiding. I can just barely see its eyes peering out of the water because its green skin blends in so well with the lily pads. I think it must have gotten too hot. So it jumped off its lily pad into the cool pond water. I'm feeling warm too, so I think I will get ready to go for a swim in this shallow, that's a word we know, in the shallow pond water. I wonder what I will see when I dive down underwater. Dive is one of our vocabulary also. We may not learn that till tomorrow though. Wow, the long tail stems of the water lily stretch all the way to the bottom of the pond. I bet its roots grow down into the muddy ground. The cattail's stems grow underwater too. One of the turtles has slid off its warm rock and started swimming underwater in search of a snack. Ooh, wow, this is a good example of that word. Remember that word? The water in the pond is so murky. Oh, that's one of our vocabulary. Murky and muddy. I can hardly see, but I do see a fish swimming along, weaving between the stems of the lily pads. I can see the warm sunlight shining through the water surface into the pond's depths. I wonder what I will find crawling along the very bottom of the pond, where it is gloomy and dark. That's such a good picture of it being murky. You can't see it very well. You can't see through it. I guess crawfish like the cold, murky water at the bottom of the pond. I see one using its antenna to feel around for food that might be nearby. Then it will use its front claws to capture the food and put it in its mouth. I think I'm going to swim away before the crawfish's antennas find me. Oh. Have you eaten a crawfish before? Yeah, I have too. Yeah, we cook them. Sometimes we put lots of hot sauce on them or stuff. Okay. So if I follow the lily pad stems upward, I can swim right back to the surface of the pond. That means where the air is, the surface. The water gets warmer and warmer as I swim towards the sunlight. I can understand why the flower of the lily pad grows on top of the water. After all, it needs sunlight too, so its beautiful white flowers can grow and bloom. Oh, aren't they pretty flowers on the lily pad? Yeah. That swim in the cool pond water was refreshing, but now I am worn out. It's time for me to say goodbye to the blue heron and the cattails, to the fish and the lily pads. I'm going to find a warm rock nearby where I can lay in the sun, dry off, and take a nap. I think I'll take my time as I crawl slowly around looking for the perfect spot. Goodbye, everyone. Okay. So, do you remember some of the animals that were in the pond? Well, we know there was a turtle because that was the one talking, Tobias the turtle. And there were fish, there were ducks, frogs, raccoons, remember, with the eyes like that, the beaver that would chew the tree up, blue herons, that blue bird with the long skinny legs, dragonflies, butterflies, a water strider, crawfish,